guess in this episode we're going to be talking about X-Men Apocalypse. Cool. This movie was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad by any means. There are a few scenes in it where I was like, okay, that is definitely awesome. It's a very worthy inclusion into the X-Men franchise. It's probably not as good as X-Men Days of Future Past. I'd say that's still the best X-Men movie to date. Just after Deadpool. I mean, it's better than Deadpool. I think X-Men Days of Future Past is gonna be really hard to beat because it's like near perfect film. But yeah, this movie was good as like a standalone film. I did have a few flaws with it, but there were as I said earlier, there were like about 3 scenes that really made me just go wow. Even more than some scenes in Civil War. Like, this movie had more, oh, that's awesome scenes than Civil War did. Even though Civil War had, like, really awesome scenes. But, like, I've seen Civil War twice now, and those scenes don't really have that much of an impact. It's probably the first time I saw it. But yeah, this film had a lot, well, just 3 kind of that really popped to my mind at this point. Really cool scenes. And I think those parts of the movie really saved it from being kind of like a boring slugfest of just kind of X-Men related things. A lot of the X-Men now are young, like Cyclops and Jean Grey, and they play a major part in this film. Apocalypse, kind of half and half. Some of the time his motivations were kind of unclear, and it took me like a while to actually care about what he was doing. Like, I was wondering, what is he actually doing? Like, what's his plan? Apparently it's to tell the world that they follow blind leaders, and that everything they built will fall! Because you said that at least 5 times in different trailers. So, yeah, I know that he recruited like the 4 horsemen. There was Storm, Psylocke, Angel, and Magneto. I have a problem with that. I'll get into that later when I delve into spoilers, I guess. Yeah, I'll just explain what was wrong with this movie in my spoiler part. But yeah, it was just pretty much Apocalypse's motivations were kind of unclear. I wasn't really sure what he was doing, or that even if he like posed a real threat, because he was just kind of there. He was kind of like reborn from another person into Oscar Isaac's body, and I guess that's what the ancient scribes said. And since Oscar Isaac is a mutant, oh, is this spoilers? No, it's not start maybe. This isn't spoilers, but since Oscar Isaac was already a mutant, now that Apocalypse is going to be transferred into a mutant's body, he will probably be even stronger than ever before, and I think that's why they did it. But to me, Apocalypse wasn't that interesting of a villain. He just felt kind of like a plot device more than anything, more than a real threat that they posed to the actual X-Men. Yeah, what else happened? McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are in this movie again. They're great, as always. Sometimes I prefer them even more than Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. And that is hard to say, in my opinion. But they're really good in these X-Men movies. And as I said before, some of the X-Men are young in this, and the actors do a good job. Like, Ty Sheridan plays Cyclops in this movie. He does a good job. I hope that's right, Ty Sheridan. Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones does a good young Jean Grey, and yeah, she does a good job. Young Beast again was like his. Oh, I think it's his second movie. I think he was first been in Expedition Future Past. No, he wasn't First Class. Okay, I think it's his third movie, third or fourth. I can't remember. But the Young Beast does a good job again. But the original Beast, Kelsey Grammer, I think that's his name. He's probably still up there for me. And Quicksilver again is in this movie. Evan Peters, he does an amazing job as Quicksilver, even though he is in this movie longer than he was in Days of Future Past, and he's one of the scenes in this movie that really sold this movie for me. It's like a really fun time, but I'll get into what that scene is later. But I will say now that one scene is better than what was in Days of Future Past. Time in a bottle scene, but I'll get into what that scene is later. There's a surprise appearance in this movie that was kind of spoiled in one of the trailers, but I won't say what it is just in case you guys haven't seen those trailers or you want to save it for the movie. But that scene was really awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much it from, like, without spoiling anything. The villain was kind of bland, I thought. I'll get into what I didn't like about the movie and certain character aspects that I didn't really agree with in the spoiler part. Okay, I'm gonna be spoiling the movie now, you guys believe. Okay. Where to start? Okay, let me think. I already explained that Apocalypse is like an ancient Egyptian god and whatever. He recruits the 4 horsemen, which includes Storm, Psylocke, Angel, and Magneto. I think I already mentioned that. Magneto's apparently working a normal life in this metal workshop, and he's trying to fit in as like a normal civilian, I guess. And when someone's about to get crushed by metal equipment, he uses his magnetic abilities to stop that from happening, and then everyone sees him. And then they call I can't remember what country they're in. I think they're in, I don't know, someplace. And they call the police on them. And Magneto's daughter is also a mutant. And she, like, brings down crows or something onto the guards. And then they freak out and shoot the mother and wife with an arrow, and then Magneto is like, and then he goes ballistic and just kills everyone. And so I guess Magneto's bad again, so that's why he joins Apocalypse, because Apocalypse is like, you need to do your full range of powers, I guess. Join us and no one will ever feel your pain. Like, I can't be the only one that is really sick of Magneto going off again, on again, bad, good, I'm getting extremely tired of it. And at the end of the movie, he turns good again because of what Mystique told him, I guess. And he like stops Apocalypse in his tracks by like throwing 2 giant metal bars in the ground that form an X. Like, that's corny as hell. Like, yeah, we get it's the X-Men, and like putting an X into the ground doesn't actually stop Apocalypse from just like walking through the bottom of the X's. So that was corny, but that's at the end of the movie. I'll get to that later. I guess Magneto's bad again, and Apocalypse recruits the 4 horsemen, and then... Alright, Mystique goes into this fighting ring and saves Nightcrawler. Oh yeah, he's in this movie, I forgot to mention that. I don't like Nightcrawler's accent, I'm sorry, I know he's German, I'm personally not a fan. Like, he pronounces all those what's, it's, what? What do I miss? It just kind of irritates me. I don't dislike it. It just kind of like irritated me. Like, okay, I know Nightcrawler's German. I know, but it just kind of irritated me a bit. I know that's his character, but whatever. Mystique also comes down by the Xavier School for Gifted and Talented, and not Gifted and Talented, Gifted Youngsters. I'm thinking of something else. and Xavier wants to make it like a normal school, not just for mutants, like for actual humans. And Mystique is like, well, just because there isn't a war doesn't mean there's peace. And then Xavier's like, oh, join us, Raven. I can't remember this movie. Then Beast is like, the world needs the X-Men. We stood for something, but Charles doesn't want the X-Men. He just wants a bunch of kids being happy with what God has given them, the gifts, I guess. And I guess I was gonna come out right and say I do not like Mystique. I've never liked Mystique. I like her as a character, but not when Jennifer Lawrence is playing her. I don't like that. I don't like her as Mystique. She's probably fine as like a person. She's probably nice, but the thing they're doing with Mystique, like the way she plays Mystique and the way they're portraying Mystique in these movies, like she's like good and bad, I guess. And I swear to God, they find since Jennifer Lawrence is like has like huge star power and can be in like any movie and people will watch it because Jennifer Lawrence is in it, because Katniss, I guess. They find every goddamn excuse for Mystique to not wear her blue makeup and actually, be a freaking mutant just because Jennifer Lawrence is playing her. They find every excuse for Jennifer Lawrence to just be Jennifer Lawrence and no makeup. The only time she wears her makeup is when she's like injected with the serum by Stryker, and then she turns blue, and then at the end when she's like, we're proud of our powers, we're X-Men, I'm mutant and proud of it, and then she turns blue, and then in the final fight she's blue, I guess. But they find every excuse. That annoyed me. God, I don't like Mystique. What else happened? Right, okay, I may as well talk about it. Havoc dies in this movie. Apocalypse comes by the Xavier's school, and Apocalypse blows up the whole thing, and Havoc dies, who's Scott Summers' brother, Cyclops. And that's when my favourite scene of the movie happens. Quicksilver comes in with, Sweet Dreams Are Made of These playing, and it's literally, like, the best scene in the movie. He literally saves everyone, and it is so creative. It outdoes the Days of Future Past one in every way. Like, it's longer, and I love the songs playing. I love the arithmetics, and the scene is just so good. The way they did it. It took like 90 days to shoot, I believe, and it paid off. It looks amazing. It made me smile the whole time. As soon as time stopped going, just held in motion, I was like, oh snap, you know what's coming. And then Quicksilver steps on like a badass, and he's like, I'm not even here for a few seconds, and now you're already in trouble. I already have to save your ass, And then he just goes around saving everyone in the Xavier's school, and it makes for one of the best scenes in the movie. Quicksilver is just being himself. I love Evan Peters as Quicksilver. Hopefully they make a standalone movie with Quicksilver. I would totally watch that. Oh, that scene was really, really good. I could watch that scene on repeat. Woo! Woo! That's good. Also, they get captured by Stryker, who's the guy responsible for Wolverine's Weapon X stuff, I guess. And Jean Grey and Cyclops follow them in a helicopter, and Mystique, Beast, and Nightcrawler are all trapped in this giant electrical force field. I think that's all of them. But Jean Grey and Cyclops. Nightcrawler's with Jean Grey and Cyclops. They try to shut down the power to save them, and then they hear this heavy grunting coming from this cage, and they're like, this was once a man, and it's had its humanity stripped away from it. And as soon as that happened, I knew what it was. They spoiled it in the trailer, but oh my god, I was so happy I saw it. This scene kicked ass. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine comes out of the cage. He doesn't say a single word throughout this entire scene, and just wearing his iconic Weapon X mind thing, on his head, and he just runs through multiple halls, just absolutely slaughtering everyone. There's blood, there's actual stabbing, not just punching people, like Wolverine PG-13 M would do. Oh my god, he kills everyone. He cleans house. He just runs through the entire thing, just... Oh, it's so good. He didn't even say a single word. And you could just feel his presence. Well, obviously, because he's, like, killing a bunch of people, but... he, like, kills everyone. And then Jean Grey is, like, gives him a memory back, because he lost all humanity or whatever. She gives him a memory back, and then he's, like, looks at Jean Grey, and he just kind of, like, turns around and runs into the woods. I cannot wait for Wolverine's last movie. I think it's going to be based on Old Man Logan. It's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see Hugh Jackman again, actually in a speaking role. Oh, that scene. Another scene which really saved this movie for me was that scene with Wolverine just killing everyone. Oh, so awesome. Oh, what else is there? I guess that's it. I think Havoc's dead. Then they have the giant fight with Apocalypse. And everyone... Magneto's like in this force field thing. And Quicksilver's like, oh yeah, Magneto's my son. I mean, what? Magneto's my father. I don't know what I was thinking. Magneto's my father, which is kind of weird because Magneto isn't his father in the comics. I mean, they said he was, but actually, I think he was a clone or something. I don't think Magneto's his real father in the comics. I could be wrong in that. But I'm pretty sure they said that Quicksilver wasn't actually Magneto's son. But, you know, I guess if it's for the movie's sake, I guess Quicksilver has to be Magneto's son. But Quicksilver never actually tells him that. And Mystique is like, yo, Magneto, help us. And then she has this whole speech, I guess, to Magneto. And he's like, oh, okay. And then, like, a few minutes later, Magneto comes in and stops him, Apocalypse, with the X's. And then, for some reason, Storm turns on Apocalypse, and they start, like, just electrocuting him and magneting him. I don't know. Also, the whole plan of this is to, like, since Apocalypse wants to transfer into Professor X's body so that he can communicate with the entire world. So if he transferred himself into Xavier's body, then he would be, like, all-powerful, because he would be able to, like, talk to the world on a global scale. And then, while like, that's happening, Xavier loses all his hair, so I guess that's why he's bald. I guess. I don't really know how that works. He just kind of loses all his hair for them, just to look like the comic version, I guess. And then that kind of fails, and then he's all weak, and then he has, like, this dream sequence where he's, like, communicating with Jean. He's like, Jean, help me, Jean! 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 Having an X-Men cartoon flashback. But, yeah, he just has this thing, and then Jean comes into the dream, and then he's like, unleash your powers, Jean! You are the Phoenix! And then he, like, this is another, like, the third scene that's the best part of the film. She walks out, like, starts levitating on air, and then, like, when Apocalypse is getting, like, strained down by Magneto and Storm, she lets out Dark Phoenix, just, like, straight up. And then she just, like, unleashes all hell on Apocalypse, and then he literally disintegrates. Like, his skin is like, and just kind of, like, peels off, and he's like, my god. He absolutely just gets annihilated. And it is awesome. That's another scene in this movie. I was like, yeah! This movie, I'm going to wrap this up now. This movie was pretty much, for the most part, good. I don't like Mystique. I definitely don't like how Magneto's, like, on again, off again bad. A few scenes in it definitely helped this movie out in my eyes. Overall, the pros of this movie were the Quicksilver, Wolverine, and Jean Grey scenes, and the fact that it's an X-Men movie. You know, all X-Men movies at this point are pretty damn good. The cons really are how Magneto is always on again, off again, but that's more like a general thing. That's more like my opinion. That's kind of like what I, as, like, in my opinion, have a problem with. Also Mystique, I don't like what they're doing with her, just because Jennifer Lawrence is like a huge name. That's why they're kind of shielding her from being the Mystique she should be. And you know what? I'll throw the reason why Professor X loses hair as a con as well. I mean, that might not be like a huge con, but like I just thought that's a pretty convenient way to make Professor X lose all his hair, just to look like the comic. But you know, I'll let it slide, I guess. You know, Fox just so cute trying to make the comic things connected. What else was there? Oh, I didn't talk about the end credit scene. Okay. Hang on, I'll give my last con. Apocalypse, I thought, was a pretty bland villain as well. He didn't really, his motivations weren't that clear for me. Wasn't really a fan of the way they did Apocalypse in this movie, because he's supposed to be like a huge X-Men villain. He's supposed to be like the destroyer of everything that is X-Men. Okay, I can't have a problem with that. But the end credits scene also, Mystique says, "You're not students anymore, you're X-Men," and then they're like, "Oh, cool," and then a bunch of Sentinels come out, and I guess Mystique's literally X-Men, and then that's their training. The end credit scene is, people, like the Essex Corp getting Wolverine, Weapon X's blood, and so they might be cloning him, which I think could lead to, like, Mr. Sinister, and I thought that could be, like, really, really cool. Also, yeah, I think that could lead to possibly X-23, which I'm really stoked about. Yeah, that's pretty much my review of X-Men Apocalypse. You know, overall, I thought it was a good film. I'll give it a 8 out of 10. 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. And I already said my pros and cons. It was a good movie, not great, not spectacular, not bad. It was good. I had a few flaws with it, but that's just my silly personal opinion. Yeah, I guess that's my review. See you in the next one. Bye.